All right, let's be honest. Finding the greatest common factor or the least common multiple, it can be a total slog. But what if I told you there's a much smarter way to do it? A method so slick, it basically feels like a cheat code. Well, get ready because we're about to unlock the pro move for GCF and LCM. And this is our guide. He calls himself the Lazy Pro. And yeah, you heard the bird. We're doing this the lazy way, which, is just another way of saying the smart way. He's got this all figured out, so you're going to want to pay close attention. So before we get to the good stuff, we kind of have to talk about the way most of us were taught to do this. We'll call it the rookie method, and you're about to see why why we desperately need a better way. Okay, quick speed run through some vocab we have to get out of the way. First up, factors. Just think of them as the numbers that multiply to make another number. For 12, the factors are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. Easy. Then you got multiples. That's just a fancy word for skip counting. So for 4, it's 4, 8, 12, 16, and on. Okay? Basics covered, let's move on. So, using that rookie method to find the greatest common factor, the GCS, of say 12 and 18, you'd have to first sit there and list out every single factor for both numbers. Then you'd have to scan through and circle all the ones they share, and finally you pick out the biggest number from that common list. I mean, look, it works. For 12 and 18, you can see they have a few factors in common, and the biggest one is 6. So the GCF is 6. Cool. But as our little buddy here says, it's kind of boring, isn't it? And so slow. And finding the least common multiple, the LCM, it's the same deal, just as tedious. You list out the multiples of 4, then you list out the multiples of 6, and you just keep writing and writing until, finally, you spot the first number that pops up in both lists. For these two, it's 12. Are you bored yet? 'Cause I am. This is painful. Okay, so here's the real problem. This whole listing thing, it completely falls apart. I mean, it's fine for tiny little numbers, but what happens when things get bigger, right? What happens when you get hit with something like 72 and 108? Seriously, go ahead, try listing all the factors for those. I'll wait. Yeah, no thanks. It's time to stop working so hard and start working smart. For real. And that brings us to the main event. This is the secret technique, the cheat code that makes GCF and LCM ridiculously easy. You ready for this? The secret, the whole key, is prime factorization. The big idea is that every single number out there is really just a bunch of prime numbers. 2, 3, 5, 7, all multiplied together. It's like finding a number's secret DNA code. Once you break numbers down to this level, like you see here with 12 and 18, you have all the power. No more lists, ever. Again. So once you have that prime DNA, getting the GCF and LCM is actually super, super simple. All it takes is 2 little rules, 2 pro moves, one for GCF and one for LCM. And the rules could not be simpler. For the GCF, your rule is be picky. You only look at the prime factors that the numbers share, and then you grab the smallest power of each. But for the LCM, you do the total opposite. Take everything. You use all the different prime factors you see from both numbers, and you grab the largest power of each one. That's it. It's literally that simple. Okay, but how are you supposed to remember which rule is for which? You've got better things to fill your brain with than boring math rules. So let me give you a little brain hack to make this whole thing stick for good. Here's the trick. Just think of the GCF as a minimalist. Simple, clean, only takes what is essential and shared. The LCM, though, it's a total maximalist. It's extra, it's over the top, and it wants everything. And this chart right here, this is your new best friend. For GCF, the keyword is common. It's that minimalist, right? It only takes the single shared gem. That's why you only use the common primes and the smallest power. Then there's LCM, where the key is multiple. It's the maximalist who wants the entire overflowing treasure chest. So you take all the primes and the largest power. If you just remember that vibe, you can solve any problem they throw at you. Now, you might be sitting there going, okay, cool trick, but when will I ever actually use this stuff? Fair question. So let's put this pro move into practice. Well, GCF is actually perfect for splitting things into identical groups, like if you're making treat bags for a party and don't want any leftover candy. And LCM is amazing for figuring out when 2 different cycles will line up,
like when two buses on different schedules will arrive at the same stop at the same time. You might not use it every day, but when you need it, you'll be glad you have this pro move in your back pocket.
And here we are, right back where we started, at that big, scary problem. Except it's not scary anymore, is it? You've got the cheat code, you've got the prime DNA, and you've got the whole minimalist maximalist brain hack. So what is the GCF and LCM of 72 and 108?